Hey, good morning, Redeemed Church. What's up, yo? How you guys doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's so good. What makes it fantastic today, Wade? Because normally you're like, fine.
Good. We're starting a new series today
Yeah, I love new series starts.
called Exposed.
Something to expose about myself is I love the new start of anything.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're like a starter?
I'm a starter, yeah.
And then like halfway into it, you're like, meh.
Exactly. So anytime we start a new series, I'm like, this is going to change everyone's life. And then like by week 3, I'm like, I don't know. It's just me.
But it's
a personality thing.
But it can't, yeah. It's all right. We also have Deandra leading worship this morning.
Mayfield West, hashtag Renew Mayfield West. D, what up?
Yeah.
She's here. She's leading worship today. It's going to be great.
It is.
Solo act today.
It's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to singing with Deandra here, and I'm looking forward to you getting to sing with Deandra at home.
Just don't sing too loud that people hear you on the live stream and don't hear Deandra.
Do I do that?
I don't know. Do you ever hear Andrew in the background? Because Andrew sings loud.
I don't have any, what do you call that? There's like, basically I'm like not singing or I'm singing. That's it. I don't know.
You don't have the
what do you call that?
A proper gauge.
Yeah.
Volume.
Exactly. There's no limiter on me, right? There's no like.
It's kind of like there's no governor.
There's no governor. There's no governor.
Isn't that what you call when you put it like on a car?
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
Like, holds down the speed.
Yeah, like they do. You're like the cart you drive when you're golfing.
Sort of reminded me of my children then. So they have no concept of sound.
Exposed again.
It's either like.
Don't have a governor.
Or.
And a lot of things in my life, not just singing. I don't have a governor in a lot of things in my life.
Yeah.
But we're going to expose that throughout the series. It's going to be great. Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
So this series is for me. It's for me. Really is. It's going to be a great series. Pastor Bartley's teaching today. What's the topic today?
Things aren't always as good as they seem. Which is so true.
That is true.
Sometimes we like to paint a picture. Everything's going all good.
I would say they're never as good as they seem, right? But again, that's me. Yeah, this is like a group therapy counseling session.
Eric Jensen is watching. Eric Jensen is actually watching the live stream. Good on you, Eric.
Yeah.
On vacation, still tuning into his church.
Can't wait to see his comments. They're going to be so insightful.
Yeah. Eric. Oh, man. Michelle Leroy, good morning, pastors. What is up? Michelle, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Hey, so Eric, you might still have a job when you get back. We don't know.
Yeah. Unlikely, but no, that's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. He's not going to be back for a few weeks, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Eric's in the States with family, traveling, and then when he comes back, he's going to be in self-quarantine for 14 days.
By the book, following all the rules.
Follow the book and try to do that, and so he won't be back on the stream for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
But he's going to do some other stuff from home, so stay tuned for that. We talked about the table thing. It's going to be a Bible study at home. Eric's going to lead while he's in quarantine, so that'll be good.
Lunchtime Bible study
Bible study.
Eric Jensen.
Yeah.
Good time.
It's going to be a great time. Hey, I want to tell you about, we've been doing this thing called Renew at Home, basically since we started, and some weeks we have more stuff than other weeks.
Yeah.
And so today we have probably an all-time Renew at Home photo, a Renew at Home picture. And for those who are just tuning in, you're not familiar, Renew at Home has been the segment where we actually show everybody all over the world what's happening in your lives at home instead of just what's going on here in this little studio, because we are a church and we are a family, and we want to encourage one another. We want to share some stuff that's going on at home. We want you to see real church life by you guys sending in pictures and videos and stuff like that of what's going on in your homes. And so we've been doing this for the last few weeks. This is a great picture, and then we have kind of new content we're going to invite you to send in going into the series. We're going to tell you about that in a bit, but check out this Renew at Home pic. It's great. All time.
What?
Look at that. That is Eric Jensen leading worship.
With a squirrel watching him.
With a squirrel watching him.
Or chipmunk. A chipmunk. Sorry, chipmunk. My apologies.
Yeah, this is from Sandra McDonald.
Chipmunk race.
I'm assuming this is at their cottage, maybe not. But like, how amazing is that? That is not Photoshopped. Hey, that's real life.
No, it's not Photoshopped. But this is amazing. But is this like, oh man, we're so good that even the chipmunks watch us? Or is it, oh no, only chipmunks want to watch us?
Yeah.
I don't.
I was thinking the latter.
Okay.
But
Sure.
we'll let you be the judge of that. If you're watching right now, Wade just compared you to a chipmunk.
No.
So I don't know how that feels.
No. Oh, Eric Jensen, 40 shares, facial hairs.
Hey, guess what? Last week you only did 35 shares.
Yeah.
So no facial shaves for last week. I know. I'm sorry. I took a screenshot. I posted it 35 shares.
Yeah. By the way, you
Your
should
fault,
be sharing
not
the
mine.
stream right now, whether there's facial hair
Do it.
surgery or not. So for context, last week we said that if we got 40 shares on our stream, that Andrew would shave his beard into mutton chops and go with that for a while. Even maybe preach a sermon that way.
I might.
But you guys, we only got 35 shares. Failed.
Whoopsies.
Failed.
Whoops. And he shared twice. So
I shared it twice. I really wanted to see that happen.
yeah. I even shared, by the way. That's how much I'm committed to this. So
Yeah.
just so you know, you can continue doing that. Maybe we'll have another challenge at some point. But I'm not going to throw my throw my life on the line every week. Then it just.
Your life?
What does it even mean?
It's a bit dramatic.
You know? This is my life. This is my image. I'm trying to portray an image. I don't want you to see the real me. So I wear the beard and I portray this.
I'm sure
image,
Ashton would be down with it.
She would love
Ashton, would you be down with the mutton chops?
She absolutely would love it.
You know what? We're always doing all this fun stuff, and Eric takes a big brunt of it. But Eric's always like, "Stop making me do stuff." But we all know that he likes doing it.
Yeah, loves it.
But what about Pastor Bartley?
Pastor Bartley?
Should he get in on this?
He should.
If there's 50 shares
you
in
can
the
throw
stream,
him on the,
Pastor Bartley will do something? I don't know.
That's a little risky.
Maybe pierce his ear or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, piercing. So I would go like Pastor Bartley from the side of saying, well, I don't really have that much hair to deal with. But what about piercing, like piercing your ear or something?
That'd be good. 50 shares and Bartley will pierce his ears. A face tattoo.
Mike Tyson tattoo.
Oh, man. Well, why don't you guys write in and let us know what you think would be a great idea. Here's what I want to tell you, though. So with the Exposed series, we thought it'd be really fun for the Renew at Home segment to be thematic for the next few weeks around the topic of expose. And so we are inviting you to send us content for the Renew at Home series. You send it to media@renewchurch.ca, and we'll use what we can use, and we won't use what we can't use. But basically, the theme is expose. We want to know, like, bad habits that you have at home that other people don't know that you have, or, like, what does your Saturday morning, footwear choices look like when you're out working in the yards? Are you rocking socks and Crocs? Like, we want to know what would expose you that you wouldn't normally show somebody, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to show them this thing that I made that nobody else would want to eat in the world, but for some reason you love it. If it's a food thing, if it's some sort of epic fail, like if there's something in your backyard that you built and it ain't working out how you planned it, we want to see it. We want to expose it.
Stop talking about me, Andrew.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly.
Appreciate it.
So we want to see, we want to know, just show us, send us a line here. And let us know things. Don't throw anybody under the bus necessarily, unless you have their permission and it's fair game or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're
don't let this
connected to me,
don't
throw
let this
me
be
on the
the
bus.
cause of any marital squabbles.
Yeah.
But But you should. We're gonna be talking about being exposed.
Fair
you
game.
should be able to expose, right?
Fair game.
Like, do you like some? Do you have this? Do you really like a type of food that everyone else will think is disgusting or just weird?
Right.
Do you have a quirky habits? You're saying are your pajamas weird? With again appropriate pictures being sent in.
Yeah.
But something to expose a little bit.
I think it'd be fun.
The real you.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Do I have
right
any?
now? I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I'm sure my wife has plenty.
Wait, you are
of me.
Of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Just let's clarify that, right?
Yeah. I lack so much self-awareness. I don't even know. Right. I literally think like, what would be embarrassing? Right. You're probably thinking what you're wearing is embarrassing right now. I'm like, sure. I don't know. So how loud I sing in the car sometimes. You know, sometimes when it's like,
Yeah.
The way I order
you are
food
a proud
at drive-thrus
proud
or whatever.
singer. Proud singer in the car.
I am.
I like that about you, though.
Thank you.
Riding in the car with Andrew sometimes, just like what's on the radio.
What are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? Yeah, I'd say one of the most embarrassing things I do to my family is when I order something at a drive-thru. For some reason, something takes over. I'm not even trying. Sometimes I just get really, really silly or goofy or like kind of like smart alecky with the people. You know what I mean? Like it's just something takes over when you're in a drive-thru and you're like, this could be fun. And then usually it's just embarrassing. And my wife's like, So, yeah, so that kind of stuff would be so fun. We would love to see that stuff. So for the next few weeks, you're going to send us Renew at Home content to media@renewchurch.ca, and we would love to show that in the pre-service for the Renew at Home segment. We think it'll be fun. I hope you think it'll be fun.
Eric, I'm wearing a Golden Girls t-shirt right now. #exposed.
Speaking of exposed, we want to show you one of our pastors from Thursday was exposed in our live stream. There was an eagle eye watcher.
Mitch was modeling being exposed without even knowing it. Fantastic.
So check this out. One of an eagle eye watcher said, look at this. Look under his left armpit. What do you see there?
Yeah. What do you see there?
What's that? What is
that?
I think it's a price tag.
It is a price tag.
Dude, Mitch.
And if you actually watch the live stream, you can see it dangling around. You can see even a quick, better picture than that where you actually see the price tag.
We had some YouTube watchers who were like, exposed, look, it's a price tag.
They're like, I believe Isaiah Bryant said, Mitch is trying to flex on all of us by leaving the price tags on his shirts.
So what does that say about you? There's a few options here of what that says. Some people leave tags on things because it's the cool thing to do. Like designers, like these new Nike shoes that cost $1 million and you leave the tag on it. Like, what's that? So maybe Mitch is like, unbelievably cool, transcends all of us. Probably the most likely case.
Yeah.
Or is he someone who buys things and then returns them
in
29 days? So
I mean I've never done that before.
Right.
I
don't know what it says about him, but exposed.
So
that's the kind of stuff. That's fun stuff. And we'd love to see that, and we'd love to display it on the pre-service. Hey, what we want to send you is so we were mentioning that Pastor Eric is away right now, and he usually does the worship for us or is connected to it.
Yeah.
And so he was a part of a thing when he was away, and he wanted to send it to us. It was a worship experience that he was a part of that he wanted us to participate in. So we have this really special, unique worship opportunity for you in the pre-service.
You're doing a really good job of setting this up, by the way.
I can't do this. And we'd love to show it to you. This is the first time we've ever done something like this, worship in the pre-service. So enjoy this moment while we take a break, and then we're going to come back with some more pre-service content.
Wonderful worship experience.
I mean, we don't know who these guys are. We just thought it was so fun. It was so funny. Exposed. The moral of the story is make sure you know the key that you're playing and singing in together.
Yeah.
And we've seen that. If you want to go on our own live stream and find some moments where we're exposed, we would love to see that. Actually,
no shade thrown, because I've been a part of plenty of those.
Yeah, it was funny. I hope you enjoyed it.
It was the one causing the fault.
Yeah, so. That stuff happens all the time here. It happens other places. So exposed. You're exposed, especially when everything's on camera, man. Yeah. Everything's
You're putting
exposed.
yourself out there.
And then it's out there for the whole world, lives forever. There's just no into it. So,
but it's actually sort of like a lesson for being able to, just throw yourself out there for worship. I actually said on Thursday night, I was like, I'm not the best musician, and if I can stand up here in front of a camera where it's being recorded and put on YouTube and who knows who's watching it, then you can sit in your home and sing, right? Not just throw yourself out there.
Yeah.
If this guy can play the what is that, a tenor sax he was playing?
I don't know, man.
In the wrong key and play it loud and clear, then you can do something too.
Good for you for putting yourself out on the line every week, Wade. We honor and respect you for leading the way in that.
Oh, man.
That's good stuff. Hey, so we got a few minutes left here in the pre-service, and we thought it would be fun to do a little exposure, psychological exposure.
Yeah.
So we're about to put you on the line here. Well, I'll put myself on the line too. And the series graphic is what do you call that? A Rorschach ink blot or something like that.
Yeah.
And basically, that's a psychological tool to see what people think
Can we
about.
Can we start with our? There we go. Yeah.
Yes.
So like when you see our graphic, what do you see?
What do you see?
We're not going to repeat Pastor Bartley's comment.
So something we're going to do. You guys can tell. You guys can chime in here on this in the service, in the streams, YouTube and Facebook. But we're going to go live here. We're going to do a real test and kind of get a glimpse into your mind. We're going to expose you a bit. So Wade, I'll start with you. What do you see when you see this?
I see a mean clown face.
A mean clown face. Describe us where you see the clown face and the meanness.
Well, just the I feel like the spots. There's the two eyes, and then like the nose, but it's a really giant nose at the bottom.
It's interesting that you think
the
clown is mean, right?
Yeah.
Clowns aren't normally mean, so
clowns are very mean.
I wonder why you jumped to a mean clown.
It's a mean clown.
Interesting. What does it say about you? What does it expose about your heart and your soul?
A lot of stuff. What do you see?
What do I see? I see two angels worshiping the Lord. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So what do you see at home? Let us know what you see at home. All right. Here's number 2.
Okay.
Number 2. Check that out. These are Rorschach ink blots. We're gonna dive deep into our subconscious.
I see the skeleton of a bull. No, not a bull. Like some type of animal with horns.
Okay, a ram?
Like a ram, yeah. I see the skeleton of a ram.
So you see the skeleton, which kind of represents like it's dead, and of a ram, which like a ram is a universal symbol for Satanism.
Ooh.
So I'm really interested in what's going on.
Rough.
So far, a mean cloud and
a lot of stuff going on,
and a dead ram.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What do you see, Andrew?
What do I see? I see two angels worshiping the Lord. That's what I see. All right,
yeah.
Wade.
Yeah.
Next one. Interesting. You can be the judge at home, guys. What do you see here?
Ooh. What do I see? I see a butterfly being attacked by a swarm of bees.
Ooh. A butterfly, something beautiful, being attacked by murderous hornets.
Yeah.
That's what I heard you say. Interestingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see a congregation of angels singing to the Lord. This is kind of the main stage there.
Yeah.
We got these are the people with tambourines and the flags on the outside, around the perimeter. And I think just a beautiful moment of worship. And some butterflies. There's a butterfly there.
Yeah.
So, man.
Why do you see tambourines?
Tambourines? It's a charismatic worship service, is what it is. What do you see,
right,
Wade?
What do I see?
Ooh.
What do I see?
What do you see at home? What do you see?
I see a butterfly that's been stepped on by you.
Oh, that was a fat joke. Interesting. Thanks, Wade. Also, what do I see? I see a baseball player. Look, guy wearing a baseball cap. He's swinging the bat. There's the ball. There's a bat. He missed. He struck out, and he's happy about it. He's like, whatever. I strike out 50% of the time. That's my life. Batting average 200. Maybe with the baseball season coming back, I'm feeling that. But that's why I see that. Yeah, look, baseball cap guy, ball, bat, boom.
Did he strike out because he was worshiping like an angel.
That's what it was. His eyes were closed, worshiping the Lord. So that's good. Oh, what about this one, Wade? What do you see,
Man.
Wade? What do you see?
What do I see? What do I see? I see the head of a snake.
Okay. Yeah,
Look.
describe it to us.
So
That's
you
good,
get
actually,
you get the two eyes, the circles at the top, and then like the start of the mouth at the bottom with the nose, and like the lines going up are the ridge in the snake's face.
Those are the ridge?
No, like right here.
Oh yeah,
Right here, like that's the nose, right? Like that's the ridge of the face going up, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I see a catfish. So pretty close, I guess.
Catfish and snake.
Yeah, big eyes and the little things that come off a catfish's face. And that might be because I went fishing with my brother the other day and I didn't catch anything. So subconsciously,
I was going to ask if it's because you've been catfished before.
Ooh, that's good too. I have been, and it might actually
You've
be
been
that.
catfished?
It might be that.
How are you, I want to know the story of when you were. Do you guys know the term catfish?
There's no story. What is the term catfish for those who need to know?
You've been duped, deceived, tricked.
Deceived into thinking somebody was who they weren't on the internet.
Yes.
Happens a lot, guys.
Happens a lot.
Beware who's on the internet.
Scones. Sarah Fulford says scones.
Scones.
You saw on the last one. You saw scones. That's nice.
What else are people
We
saying?
know what you're thinking about.
A demon chihuahua.
Lobster, sea turtle face.
Ah, yeah.
An
Gary
X-ray
Coates
of a
said
butterfly.
Sasquatch.
A Sasquatch.
Yeah. Number 2, he saw a Sasquatch.
Oh man.
Jen Friedman keeps seeing 2 birds.
Ooh. Interesting.
2 of everything. There's something to that when
2
it's
of
a mirror
everything.
image.
Yeah. Ninja with a perm.
A lobster, Jen Friedman said.
Oh man. Boar.
What else do we got here? We got a couple more. Here, why don't you tell us? Let's see what you think.
What
Just
do you
post it.
think?
Post it. We'll see what your comments are.
All right,
What do you
guys.
think that is?
What is this?
What does that look like? We won't do any leading here. We'll let them decide. Let the world decide.
Are we being the shrinks now?
Yeah, we are being the shrinks. We really need to psychoanalyze the responses here.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Tell us what you think
What
you
do you
see
think?
here. What do people in the room think they
Yeah.
see? 2 people facing each other? Interesting, Eric. Interesting. Yeah. Are they twins? Maybe they're twins.
Pastor Bartley, what do you see? Oh man.
I see people looking at one another's lava lamps. That's what I see. What do you see at home? Everybody?
Bunny rabbit.
What do you see?
Hilda.
You see a bunny rabbit? Okay, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Eric Jensen.
Bunny rabbits are cute, but
Baby Yoda.
they multiply quite frequently. Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda. Another rabbit's face.
Another rabbit's okay, so
All right.
might be something to that. Somebody says Pokemon. Pikachu? That's a
Biston Terrier.
Pikachu,
Do you
yeah.
mean Boston Terrier?
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know.
Biston Terrier.
Biston Terrier.
Interesting, Clint. Where do you find Biston Terriers? What does that say about you, Clint?
I don't know. What does it say?
What does
A
it say
guy
about you,
doing
Clint?
jumping jacks.
Ah,
All right.
interesting.
All right.
All right, well, I think we got one more here for you guys.
One more? All
Yeah,
right.
we got
One more.
One more.
One more. Get ready.
Wade, what do you see? What do you see, Wade?
Eric Jensen.
Ooh. Where's Eric Jensen in that? It's a well-dressed Eric Jensen, at least.
So well dressed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shaved as
man.
well. Yeah.
Shaved? Yeah.
What else do you see, Wade?
That's what I'm focused on. That's all I see.
Just can't not see him.
Yep. It's just
Interesting.
stares you right in the face.
Well, I see a Renew Mugs and Socks segment.
You see a Renew Mugs and Socks
See a Renew
segment.
Mugs and Socks segment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man.
Wait a sec. Wait a
What?
sec. Wait a sec.
Yo, the dad.
What?
The dad look
How
is
did
happening.
that happen? Look at that. Look at that. Wow. I was right about what I saw. What does it say if you're right about what you see in these inkblot tests?
That you're an 8 on the Enneagram scale.
That's what it says. It says you're right. Man,
Hey, who bought you SpongeBob socks?
bought them for myself.
What does that say about you? That's the
Exactly.
question.
Exactly. You decide. Expose.
Hashtag expose.
Yeah.
Also, the SpongeBob with the Birkenstocks.
I was going for a Gord Gooding look.
Yeah?
Yeah, because remember you posted that a few weeks ago, Gord Gooding look.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of a shout out to Jael from GCBI in Quebec. Hopefully you're watching. Huge SpongeBob fan.
Huge.
So that's what I was thinking. I must have been at the Winners and just those two were just on my mind. And I was like, oh, there it is. That's why. That's where it came from. Crazy.
Sold.
Good stuff.
Is like our socks and Birkenstock, like they making a comeback?
I think socks and slides are. Apparently Birkenstocks aren't cool anymore. You gotta use like
were
Nike
Birkenstocks
slides.
ever cool?
Birkenstocks have always been cool.
No, some people like them, and I'm just like, every time I see them.
They are so comfortable, man. They are so comfortable, it'll change your life.
No.
Yeah, for real.
No.
Who do you trust
Can't
here?
do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Deandra, you wear socks and slides?
Speaking of Crocs, my wife and I have been talking about needing to buy pairs of Crocs.
Pairs of Crocs?
Yeah, man. Like for working outside. Do you own Crocs?
I do not own Crocs.
Have you ever worn Crocs? I've never worn them, but apparently people swear
I've never worn them. No. I'm a Florida man. I get flip flops. That's all day long.
Rainbow flip flops? What's your brand?
Whatever's the cheapest. That's my brand.
Cheap flip flops.
Old Navy.
Wade's
$3 flip flops.
Advice. That's good.
Yeah, man. Dollar store flip flops.
Well, I don't know what
I
that
got no
says about you.
shame.
But the cool thing is we're doing a new series. We're going to learn all the stuff, but what all these things actually say about you.
#exposed.
#exposed.
Yeah.
Looking beneath the surface.
I can't be like Bartley dropping $150 on flip flops.
I know, right?
I'm just kidding. He doesn't. I'm just throwing it out there.
Man, well, we're looking forward to the new series today. We had some fun with that. We're inviting you to participate with us. For those who are tuning in a little bit late, my name is Andrew. This is Wade, and this is the Renew Church pre-service segment. And today we did some exercises in exposure by looking at some Rorschach ink blots. And what we also said is that our Renew at Home segment for the next few weeks, we want it to be themed around expose. So we want you to send us stuff to the media@renewchurch.ca for the Renew at Home segment that kind of expose certain things about you that might be otherwise embarrassing, or if it's like a recent epic fail, if you tried to fix your car and it's dead in your driveway, if you went to one of those paint and wine things and your painting's terrible, if you have funky outfits on Saturday mornings like Crocs and socks. This is the kind of stuff we want to see exposed. That way we're not the only ones out here being exposed and putting ourselves on the line, you know?
Yeah.
So,
or if you like Cheese Whiz and peanut butter or something together.
Dude, does anyone do that?
I'm sure somebody does out there.
My grandfather used to do bread and mustard. It was a mustard sandwich.
That's it?
And I used to think like mustard and what? Huge fan of mustard here. Thinking like this might be a pro tip. No, just mustard.
Just mustard.
Straight mustard.
Like plain, like normal mustard, or like Dijon?
Yellow mustard.
Man.
I know, right? Crazy.
Interesting.
So we want to see that stuff. It should be fun. Send it to us. We would love to expose you and give you a chance to just like release yourself from the burden of hiding and protecting these things about you, because ultimately
the burden.
Yeah, it is a burden.
The thing that weighs you down.
Isn't it though? Like you actually go through life like trying to put out this image and perception of yourself.
Yeah.
And you're exhausted by that, because the more you do that, the more you have to do to maintain it and protect the real you, right?
I'm sure that Mitch feels very relieved that people know that he flexes the price tags on his shirts now.
Yeah.
He's
been doing it for years,
hoping is off his shoulders a little bit.
Now he knows. We all saw it. We all know this about him. He doesn't have to do any work to lie or pretend
hide
or
it.
Whatever. It's out there for the world. And
it's like tuck the tag into the shirt sleeve in the right crowd, pull it out with the other crowd, right?
Exactly.
He doesn't have to do any of that anymore.
Nope. So you're welcome, Mitch. And you're welcome to everybody else.
You're welcome.
Who sends Renew at Home stuff in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
we're about to jump into our service. It's going to be a great Sunday morning.
Share the stream.
Don't forget to share the stream ASAP, like right now. That way people will see it, and then they'll be able to jump on.
And it really is going to be good. It's going to be different than all this junk stuff that we're hanging out and having fun. But you're going to hear an awesome message from Pastor Bartley.
Yeah, you are.
Leading off this series, Exposed. Things aren't always as good as they seem. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's really going to be great. We have Deandra leading us in worship today.
Yeah.
So that's also going to be great. We have a kids segment for your kids to just watch as we jump into the service. We've got a few things to tell you about coming up in the life for our church that we want you to be involved in, and all that's good stuff. So stay engaged, stay connected, keep commenting and letting people know that you're here, that you love them, that you care about them, and we're going to jump into our service in just a moment. So give us a quick, short break, and we'll get started.
See you.
Thanks for tuning in. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Renew Church live stream Sunday morning service. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the pastors here at Renew Church, and I'm here for just a moment to tell you about a few things that are coming up in the life of this church and this community that we want to invite you to be involved in. The first thing I want to tell you about is on Monday, tomorrow, we are going to put out a church-wide survey for everybody who watches the live stream or who has been a part of Renew Church in the recent past to fill out. Now, the reason why we're doing something like this is we really do want to get a temperature of where our church is at and what they're connecting with and what's working and what's not working and where they're at as families in order to make just better guided decisions going into the future of our ministry here at Renew Church. For some of you, you've been wondering, like, what's going on with Renew Church, with the changes and the phases and stuff like that. I want to reassure you that we're having multiple conversations for hours on end every single week about this kind of stuff. Some of you guys know that a lot of Ontario went into phase 3, and a lot of the GTA is still in phase 2, and so not a whole lot has changed for us as a church right away, but things are going to constantly be changing, and we're going to constantly be seeking out what God's guidance is for us as a church and as a community as things change and as things open up and as kind of our province and our cities move in a certain direction. In order to do that better, we're asking you to fill out the survey. It'll take you a few minutes of your time. It'll be so worthwhile to do, and we really, really want everybody's input. So we're asking every individual in a home to fill this out. If you're above the teenage years, if you're old enough to know how to do a survey, some teenagers' input would be really, really helpful for us as well. So if you're in your teen years, we'd love for you to fill it out. And every adult connected, not just one per family. We want every adult to let us know kind of where they're at and what they've been experiencing in order to collect the proper data. So please stay tuned for that. Check your emails tomorrow. Check the social media feeds tomorrow. We want to make sure that everybody fills one of these out. We've got a couple weeks to do it. We're going to keep talking about it until we get as much data as we can possibly get from it. But help us, please, by doing this tomorrow for us or sometime this week. And don't forget about it. It's the 2020 Vision Renew Church Survey. I also want to tell you about something coming up next Sunday evening. This is called the We Are One live stream. This is a 1.5 hour long live stream that is a national conference based on the churches that we're connected to as a fellowship. And so some of you guys don't realize this, some of you do, but as Renew Church, we are connected to a larger fellowship of churches called the Charis Fellowship, and every year we have like a week-long national conference, and this year we're doing it online. And so the kickoff of that conference is actually this Sunday night at 5:30 is when the live stream goes up. And we're going to be hosting it here in our studio. They have asked us to take on the hosting responsibilities. So you'll see myself and you'll see Wade in the pre-service coming up on the 26th of July. It's going to be next Sunday, 5:30 p.m. is when it kicks off. And we're asking you to tune in with us for that. We want everybody at Renew Church to tune in, if you're able to the We Are One live stream connected to our fellowship, Charis Fellowship. So please put that in your calendars and do not forget about that. Just so you guys know, Maverick Youth is continuing to operate over the summer with events here and there and some Tuesday nights gatherings and some videos and stuff like that. So stay tuned through your emails and also through social medias to see what's going on with Maverick Youth. Thanks for tuning in with us this morning. I'm going to pass it over to our kids moment. We're going to watch that, and then from there we're going to get a chance to sing along with Deandra from our Mayfield West campus this morning as we worship the Lord together as a church and as a faith community.
Sardine sandwiches, my favorite. Ow.
Hang on, Gabe. Didn't you forget something?
Oh, right. I forgot radishes. Yum.
No. He means you didn't say grace.
You know, like prayer.
I'm confused. How do I pray for a sardine sandwich? Why would God want to hear about that? Can I talk to God about anything? Should I book an appointment? Do I need a megaphone? Should I do a fancy cartwheel wearing a funny hat? Can I pray to God even when I'm singing flat?
Don't worry about it, Gabe.
It's easy.
Yeah, no sweat.
You don't need to spin around till your stomach gets upset.
You don't need to read a script.
Or speak with fancy words.
God hears what's in your heart.
So tell him your concerns.
You can pray for those you love, like your friends and your family.
But don't stop there. You can pray for your enemy.
Anytime is fine to bring your problems big and small.
Give each and every one to him.
God cares for them all.
Pray.
Because he's listening.
Even when you're whispering. Pray.
He'll give you peace within.
Pray, 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 pray.
Any time or place.
In each and every case.
Pray
To help you run the race. Pray, 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 pray.
Now that I know that praying is easy, I'm going to pray to God about everything. I'm going to pray to God for everything. When the milk's expired, toast on fire, I gotta be sting. When it's early in the morning or in the afternoon, I know God will hear my voice, even underneath the moon. I'm going to pray to God no matter where I am. On the bus, at the park, or in a trash can. On a mountain underwater with a yellow briefcase. God can hear my prayers in outer space.
In space, where there's no oxygen, no one can hear you.
God can! Pray!
It'll help you grow.
Pray when the answer's no.
Pray, trust the Lord, He knows.
Pray, 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 pray. When you sing a song, pray. When the loading's long, pray. When you spell it wrong, pray, 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 pray. When you're feeling smug, pray. With your favorite mug, pray. Pray, 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 pray.
Ephesians 6:18 says, "And pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests." With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the Lord's people.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Good morning, church. How's everybody doing this morning? What a privilege it is to just be able to come together like this and just, I know it's not the most conventional way, but we don't serve a conventional God, am I right? So wherever we are right now, we can just stand. I invite you to stand wherever you are, and we can worship together. Let's just do a quick prayer before we start. God, we thank you. We thank you for just your mercies, your grace, your unfailing love. We come before you humbly today to just honor your name with these songs of praise, and recognize your majesty and your glory and your beauty, God. So God, we just bring these praise offerings up to you as we sing. Amen. I know you guys definitely know this one, so we're gonna sing it out wherever you are. Sing, he's coming on the clouds. He's coming on the clouds. Kings and kingdoms will bow down. And every chain will break as broken hearts declare his praise. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? And our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. And every knee will bow before him. And our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chain. And every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Every knee will bow before him. Every knee will bow. Oh, so open up the gates. So open up the gates. Make way before the King of Kings. The God who comes to save. The God who comes to save is here to set the captives free. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? And our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. And every knee will bow before him. And our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chain. And every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Every knee will bow before him. Every knee will bow before the King. Woo! Let's sing this out right now. Who can stop? 'Cause who can stop the Lord Almighty? 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 No one. Hey. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? No one. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? And who can stop the Lord? And our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. And every knee will bow before him. And our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chains. And every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Hey, every knee will bow before him. Whoa, oh, oh. Every knee will bow. Amen.
Thanks so much, Sandra, for leading us in worship. Hey, we're about to jump into our message this morning, starting off our new series, Exposed. But before Pastor Bartley gets up, we'd like to read from James chapter 1, verses 16 through 25. So if you have your Bibles, you would follow along with me. It says this: "Do not be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. He chose to give us birth through the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of all he created. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. You pray with me before the sermon. God, thanks for today. Thanks for who you are. Thanks for what you're doing. Even in this season that some of us are experiencing some uneasiness and maybe a lack of certainty in different areas because of things that are going on with the pandemic and different social issues that are happening in our life and our world. We thank you for that you are the constant, that you are steadfast. We thank you for your grace and your mercy and your love. We thank you for your word again. Lord, may you allow that word to speak to us. May your spirit move in us. May we have hearts and ears and minds that are open to your leading and to your direction. May you be with Pastor Bartley as he kicks this series off for us. We love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, it's good to see you all today. Thank you for joining us for our live stream, and we're going to be talking about exposed... What? Oh, look at that. I must have forgotten to take the price tag off of this shirt. $300. Wow. That's a little embarrassing, actually. Anyway, exposed, I guess. Welcome to our new series, Exposed. We are inviting you to look beneath the surface on this series. And is it just me, or does the internet seem to be heating up these days? I don't know. Everywhere I look, people are so uptight online. Maybe that's why more and more people are resorting to apps like TikTok. The mindlessness of TikTok just seems to be kind of refreshing when you consider all of the other stuff that is out there. Everyone else seems to be so, politicized and hostile and angry about stuff. We seem to live in an age where everyone likes to just sort of sit at their laptop and just launch truth bombs at one another and just kind of blow each other up from a distance. No one seems to want to listen. I think there's kind of a general lack of civility and really a lack of humility, I think, too, kind of goes along with that. Some people come across like they have all of the answers, like the solutions to all of the world's problems would be really simple if everyone else wasn't just such an idiot, right? That's kind of the impression you get from a lot of people. And you have to wonder if sometimes those same people are really just trying to distract from the things that are going on in their own life or their own shortcomings, perhaps. I don't know about you, but when I see people like that, that's kind of what I think. Someone that's like being so aggressive to point out other people's problems and shortcomings, I wonder what's actually going on inside of that person. Because here's the deal, guys. The fact is that none of us measure up. None of us do. We all have things that we're not proud of, that we don't like people knowing about. We all have secrets that we try to keep below the surface. And our human nature is to try to distract people, including ourselves, from actually paying attention to all of those negative things that we don't like. It is a form of self-deception, really. The Bible actually talks quite a bit about deception and self-deception. Look at what James, the brother of Jesus, said in James chapter 1. He says, don't merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away immediately and forgets what he looks like. In 1 John chapter 1, John says, if we claim to be without sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. Guys, John explained in his earlier book why people actually do this, and it kind of brings us full circle to what we're talking about in this series. He says, everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their evil deeds will be exposed. And there's the word that we're looking at in this series, the word expose. That's our word. Nobody likes to be exposed. None of us like this. And John says that it's an exercise of walking into the light, that we as followers of God, we should willingly move in the direction of the light, which is a symbol for truth and knowledge and where people see what we really are. And that's what this series is all about, guys. Looking beneath the surface, looking beyond what people normally see when they look at us and seeing what's really there. Each week, one of our pastors is going to discuss a rather hard truth, something that is true for them, or true for me, as you're going to see this morning, and probably something that's true for a lot of us, because we all tend to wrestle with a lot of the same things. And the goal for us in this series is just to be vulnerable, and hopefully that will lead us into some healthy introspection. And then hopefully from there we can walk into the light and we can, respond positively in the ways that we ought to respond after we see what's really there below the surface. Here's the thing, guys. As humans, we tend to react in one of two ways when we are confronted with our own shortcomings. And you can see this to be true all over the place. There's so many examples of this. But here's what we do. We swing the pendulum from one side to the other. And there's a diagram that we've been using even on our staff to try to understand how we're going to approach this series. And we came up with this diagram which kind of explains it really well. When we're exposed to our shortcomings, we tend to either swing to one side or the other. On one side, we have sort of this indifference and apathy, where, these are the people that just don't really seem to care that much about their shortcomings. They don't see the gravity of their actions. These people tend to keep on hurting other people and themselves, often in the process. And these people tend to frustrate other people because they just don't ever seem to get it. They don't seem to see, the gravity of their actions. And so these are the indifference and apathetic kind of people. But then on the other side of the extreme, you have this shame and guilt dynamic. And these people, they seem nicer because at least they acknowledge their problems and they see their weaknesses and the weight of their actions. But these people often live in guilt and shame. They get stuck in ruts really easily. And they only tend to feel good when they're beating themselves up over something. You know people like this? Maybe you're one of those people where you're just like self-flagellating all of the time. That's the only way you can kind of get any relief, is by feeling like you have to beat yourself up for the stuff that you've done. These people can become kind of miserable to be around, honestly, and often they fail to live up to their potential because they're so focused on their own shame and guilt, and they just can't seem to get out of that rut. Well, what we want to do in this series is to show you that there is some middle ground here somewhere, and it really is the faith response that we're looking for. It is the proper response to our shortcomings. And if we believe that you find that balance, we do believe, rather, that you find that balance when you come to properly understand and apply the truth about God and His gospel to your life. And that's what we want to help you do in this series, to really understand, what does God say about life, this situation, my life and my situation? What does God say about it? And what does the gospel say about it? This narrative of what God has done in the world and what He's doing in the world. What does it say, and how does it address the issues that I'm facing? A couple of gentlemen that you may have heard of before, Caesar Kalinowski and Jeff Vanderstelt, two Christian men, pastors who have written books. They've actually written a lot about this dynamic. Books like Transform that Caesar Kalinowski wrote, Gospel Fluency by Jeff Vanderstelt, they show that the way that we grow and become transformed into the image of Christ is by faith. It really is that middle of the pendulum where we come to him in faith, that we only really change when we believe and live out of the things that we see that God has said in his word about himself and about the gospel. And Jeff Vanderstelt explains that as Christians, we often go after the surface sin, right, in ourselves and in other people. We focus on those surface sins instead of the deeper sin of unbelief that is always there below the surface. We shame people in an attempt to control their external actions. You ever been part of an organization like that? Maybe you've been part of a church like that. We really try not to be that way at Renew Church. We don't want to just clean up the externals. That's not what Jesus was about. Jesus talked a lot about getting to the internal and not just putting up this facade. But we often fail to expose the deeper things that we are failing to believe about God and about the gospel. And because of this, we keep falling back into the same patterns, into the same sins. And so in this series, we want to get to the heart issues. Let me give you an example, just so you understand what I'm talking about. You know, some people are so eager for other people to think highly of them that they will literally do or say anything to create the impression that they want to create with people. And for those kinds of people, sometimes they will tell falsehoods in order to get people to like them or to approve of them or accept them. And we know that that's wrong, right? That's lying, that's deceit. And the Bible speaks against those things. And that's not going to help them. That's not going to help other people. It's bad for everyone. But the deeper problem is that they have actually bought into the lie that they must present a false self in order to be accepted. You see, this is the deeper thing that's going on below the surface. They have believed some kind of a lie somewhere that they have to present that false self in order to be accepted or loved by other people. You see, if they knew God, really, and if they really knew the gospel, they would understand that God already loves them unconditionally and that this was demonstrated in the fact that Christ died on the cross for them. So great was his love for them. And once people come to grasp this truly, they don't feel that need anymore to put up these false fronts, but they can be themselves because they know that they're accepted in Christ. So that's just one example. So here's a note, guys, and I want this to stand as we go through this whole series. We want this series to be about exposing our deeper unbelief, not just our surface sins, right? We're not interested in just kind of shaming or guilting people, treating that exterior surface. We want to expose what's going down in our hearts below the surface so that you can understand the things that you really need to address that really are related to what you really do believe in God and what you really do believe about as it relates to the gospel. See, because we actually act on the things that we truly believe. Well, let's jump right into week 1, and the theme that I've been given for this week is this: things aren't always as good as they seem. Things aren't always as good as they seem. Almost 13 years ago, I did a series in our church called Confessions of a 37-year-old Pastor. Now, the guys in the live stream on Thursday night already kind of blew my cover in terms of a large birthday that I have coming up next month. So you all kind of know what that is, I guess, by now. But a long time ago, in my mid-30s, things were kind of coming to a head for me in my life, and not in a good way. I had been leading the church for almost 10 years. It had grown. But the truth is I was exhausted at that time. And not a lot of people know it, but I actually started seeing a counselor, a gentleman out in Kitchener, who was helping me with some stuff. And as I would kind of, sit there on the couch and talk about the things that were going on in my life, he was able to analyze what was going on and get a pretty good feel for where I was at. And he basically came back and he said, Bartley, you're clinically depressed. And I'm like, oh, okay. He talked to me about my options, and I chose not to go on medication at that time, but I did see clearly that I knew I needed to start digging deeper into what was really going on below the surface of my life, because my life was not in a good place. And I was really forced to discover some things. And as I looked below the surface, I could see, first of all, the thing I recognized pretty quickly was that I was working too hard. I was at the office all the time. I was with people all the time. I was doing stuff all the time. I was shortchanging my family on time and myself as well. I just didn't have any margin in my life. The second thing that I came to discover was that I had some pretty unrealistic expectations for myself, for my church, for where I was at in my career. See, I had always excelled as a younger person, and pretty much everything that I tried to do, I did pretty well at it. And our church was doing pretty well for a church in Canada, in the GTA. We know that it's not an easy place here to grow a church, but things were actually going pretty decently. But I just wasn't satisfied. My pendulum had swung so far to the side of really guilt and shame, and I would add to that a lot of frustration, just because of how I was perceiving myself. And I was a pastor in the middle of all that, and so I had to look like I had it all together and that things were fine. So when I did that series, Confessions of a 37-Year-Old Pastor, I shared openly what was going on below the surface in my life. And I would say, going back, probably a little too openly about the things that were going on and how I was trying to cope. I confessed that I was really driven to succeed. I confessed that I was wrestling with sexual temptation like I never had before in my life. I confessed that I would actually say some really nasty things about the church under my breath as sort of a coping mechanism. I developed these mantras, and I could see people looking like, oh, I didn't know if I really wanted to know all of this, Pastor Bartley. And I think looking back that I was probably swinging the pendulum too far to the other side of I don't care. And sometimes we do this. We don't just go on one side or the other. Sometimes we swing the pendulum back and forth instead of landing in that place of faith. I don't think most people were probably prepared for that series that I gave. I think a lot of people didn't know how to respond, but I can say that there were a lot of people that really encouraged me during that time, who came up and said, hey, thanks for being so open. I'm going to be praying for you. And I can really say that I felt that prayer and that people got me through that. What really got me through was reaffirming my faith in God and in the gospel. And we're going to talk a lot about that as we go through this series. We're going to look every week at the topics that we look at, how God and the gospel are the solution to these problems. You see, when I came home from the counselor and I really started looking below the surface, I sat down with God and I just asked myself the question. I said, who am I if I never ever succeed in the way that I want to? If I never realize the dreams and hopes that I've had from me, my church, my career, whatever, who am I in God's eyes? Do I measure up? Am I worthy? Just sitting down and contemplating that question, I can remember like it was yesterday. I would sit down and I literally started feeling panicky. I would almost have panic attacks just thinking about that. That's how deep this was inside of me. But after much Bible reading and reflection over many days, I reaffirmed the belief that I'd always had but just had drifted away from, the fact that God loved me just because I'm his child. And for no more than that, nothing related to my performance or the things that I've accomplished, that God loves me just because I'm his child. And when I got to that place, guys, I can tell you honestly, good things started to happen. And it wasn't overnight. It took some time to come out of that funk that I was in. But good things started happening. First of all, I stopped working so hard. And that was hard at first because, my working hard was connected to that idea of success that I was latched onto. I stopped trying to please everyone. I'm a pleaser kind of by nature. I don't like people being upset with me. And, when people would leave the church or be upset about a certain ministry or something that I did or said or whatever, when you're lead pastor, kind of everything leads back to you. So if you want criticism, you can always find it. And so I just stopped trying to please everyone. I gave myself permission to be human and to fail. And I just retuned my ear to God's voice so that I was listening to the good words that God was saying, that he approved of me, that he loved me regardless of what I accomplished. And I started hearing God's voice again in that way. It was just before that time that Sarah and I added our fourth child to our family, who is my son Joseph. The word Joseph actually means God adds. And I actually thought about that when we chose his name. For those who may not remember Joseph way back then, this is when he was just a couple years old, I thought I would send you down memory lane, because some of you may remember this, so take a look. This was my son Joe when he was just a couple years old.
Rocky was the wee little man was he. He climbed up in the more tree he would to see. He said, Rocky, you come down, go to your house today. I go to your house today, have cricket. That's a cricket.
So that was Joseph. He's singing the Zacchaeus song that he had learned in Sunday school. So cute, right? Those that know my son Joseph today realize that he's not quite as adorable anymore as he was back then. I pull out these old videos once in a while, and I'm like, wow, he was so adorable. And it's important to do that when you have a 15-year-old child. Yeah, do that once in a while. But, you know, the image that God gave me way back at that time, as I was wrestling with all of this stuff and his love for me, regardless of my accomplishment, the image that he gave to me was of a father sitting with his little kid like that, on his bed or, you know, on the couch, and just being there together. Not necessarily saying anything, maybe just watching a show or just being there, maybe even just taking a nap, but just being there together with your child in his arms. And that image really God used to kind of help me heal and to help me realize the way that he feels about me. And I got a fresh new vision of how he sees me. You see, I always knew verses like Ephesians 2:8-9. Look at what it says. It says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith." And this is not your own doing, right? It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one can boast about it. And I knew all this, and I know that my salvation is a gift from God, but sometimes we forget by extension, if you can't earn your salvation, you can't earn anything from God. You just have to accept the fact that he loves you and that it's a gift. And I had to just get back to that place. I started seeing how my own pride was actually making me disbelieve the gospel that I'd given my life to share with other people. It's in each one of us, you know, to try to prove our worth. Mostly to ourselves, that we're trying to prove to ourselves that we're worthy, that we're valuable. But it's so ridiculous when you actually take the time to think about it. It's like my 2-year-old son, Joseph, trying to, you know, earn my love. I mean, it's such a ridiculous concept. He's my child. Like, the love is so automatic. It's so already there. And so for a little child to think that he has to make his father like him somehow is just a ridiculous concept. Guys, I would like to tell you that I never struggle with those feelings of inadequacy anymore. But I do. And the theme for today's message is things aren't always as good as they seem. And the truth is that they're not, and they still aren't for me. I still feel like a failure lots of times. I still feel like I need to prove myself in certain ways. I still have a really hard time with criticism. And I still want everyone to know how amazingly smart and creative and funny I am. I'm sure a lot of you do. But, you know, I still want all of those things, and I still struggle with all of those things. I would love to say that I never get angry and blame God for things. I would love to say that I never make excuses for my own sin. I would love to say that I never, you know, struggle with my fleshly desires. But the truth is, guys, I still do. I still do. But I'm a struggler, and I do struggle, and I keep making progress, and I keep working at it, and I keep growing. But I want to encourage all of you today. I want to encourage you. I want you to know that living the Christian life is hard. It's hard for everyone. It's hard for seasoned pastors like myself. And at the age I'm at, I can actually use that term now. But it is. It's still hard. You see your pastor's life sometime, whether it's me or one of our campus pastors, and you probably think, oh, their life, you know what? They're trying to tell me stuff, but their life is so perfect. They don't have all the stuff that I'm dealing with. They have a loving spouse who loves God, right? And I do. She's pretty hot too, actually. But yeah, I do have a loving spouse. Good kids, they say. Yeah, your kids, they're all doing all right. You got all that Bible knowledge, and you've got that direct line to God in prayer, right? I love how people think pastors have this special communication line to God in prayer. Let me just kind of throw this one out there this morning. Did you know that sometimes I actually go months without feeling like I've heard God clearly? Months. And I'm a pastor. But it's just the truth. There's sometimes that I go months on end where I really don't know if I've heard God's voice on something. Now, I know what God says. I know His Word. I've studied it my whole life. So I've never lost the knowledge of what I should be doing and, what God thinks if I come back to that. But, to have that active sense, I don't always have that. And it's not because I'm not praying. It's not because I'm not confessing my sin. Guys, here's the fact. The fact is that we're in a broken world. And our communication with God got messed up in the fall. And the world is a broken place. And things don't always happen the way that they're supposed to happen. When you were a young Christian, there were probably people who meant well, but who oversimplified things for you. And you probably learned things like, do right and God will bless you, right? Just do right and God will bless you. But then you did right and you actually lost your job, right? You probably had people tell you, love people and everything will go well. And then you love people, but then they were really hurtful back to you. And you're like, that doesn't seem to be the way it should be. Where's God in all of that? You heard people say God always answers prayer, but the thing that they didn't tell you is sometimes you're going to wait 25 years before you actually hear what He says about that. And guys, that's just the truth. You can even look in the Bible and see people like Abraham, they experienced that. In King David's younger years, not after he had messed things up, but in his younger years when he was doing everything right, he still often felt abandoned by God. In Psalm chapter 31, he says, I have been forgotten like one who is dead. I have become like a broken vessel. David, King David, powerful, charismatic King David, he felt broken, he says. Guys, if you haven't caught it yet, the theme here today, really in one word of what we're talking about, is brokenness. That's what we're talking about. With all of the diversity that we have in our church, something that we all share in common at Renew Church is that we are all broken, every one of us. You need to understand how the gospel actually, addresses the brokenness that you experience in your life. It's so important that you learn how the gospel addresses that brokenness. Let me give you the gospel in a nutshell. Some of you have heard this before, but it's so important to keep coming back to it. The gospel basically can be summed up in 4 words. You've seen us speak on this before at Renew Church. It's creation, fall, redemption, and restoration. Let me kind of quickly go through it. First of all, creation. The idea is that God made the world, and He made everything good. When you read the Genesis account, He talks about how everything that He created it to be good. And that's how God created the world. He made the world beautiful and safe and disease-free and full of hope and joy and potential. It was an amazing place. He created mankind with this perfect relationship with Him where they would walk together in the cool of the day in the garden. They had this amazing relationship where there was never any question about what God was saying to you. It was all clear. There was no spiritual interference. Well, then mankind fell, and that's the second word, the fall. Mankind rebelled against God, and the world broke. And mankind, when confronted with his shortcomings, began to act out of shame and guilt, right? That pendulum started to swing. When God came to walk with Adam and Eve as usual, He called out to Adam after Adam and Eve had sinned, and it says in Genesis 3, Adam answered, I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid. So all of a sudden we see this shame dynamic for the first time coming into the picture. And the story of the world ever since has just been one grand mess ever since. In every way, the world is messed up. We know that we have so much potential as human beings, personally and also globally. We know we have potential, but we just can't get it right. We're broken. We swing the pendulum between shame and indifference all the time. Shame and indifference. You could say between hating ourselves and hating God. That's really what it boils down to. And you may find yourself in the same place, right? You're loathing yourself one day and then you're angry at God the next day. And maybe even you're saying you don't believe in Him. You may even be going that far, but it's just the pendulum swinging back and forth and you can't get it to settle in a balanced place. Well, the third word is redemption. And this is the fact that Jesus came to make things right again. In his lifetime, he taught us how we should live. And by his death, he showed us just how much we are loved by God, how powerful God's love is for us and our true worth. Guys, don't miss that, eh? Jesus' death on the cross is what defines your worth. It's his death on the cross that actually defines what a human being is worth, you included. He paid for our rebellion. He made us friends of God again. And he gave us a third option between that shame and guilt or that apathy and indifference. And that option is faith. He says, if you'll just believe in me, believe in who I say I am and what I'm doing in the world and what I can do for you, if you will just settle in on that, believing who he is and what he's done for us is the answer to everything. The fourth word is the word restoration. And this is the idea that Jesus is going to finish the job by making everything right. He started when he came the first time. He left. The Bible says he's going to come back and he's going to finish what he started. In Colossians chapter 1, it says, "For God was pleased to have all of his fullness dwell in Christ, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross." So the moment that Jesus came, this is God in human form, he came and he died for our sins on the cross. He put into motion this process, not only of redemption, but also of restoration, of reconciling everything back to himself, of bringing everything into a right relationship with God, which is the answer to everything. Someday Jesus is going to come back and he's going to take control of planet Earth and he's going to fix all of the brokenness, the hatred, the greed, the poverty, the pollution, the injustice, you name it, he's going to fix it. All of it, he's going to fix it. And until then, we as his children, you know what? We're supposed to get a start on it. That's basically what he's told us. I'm coming back, I'm going to fix all this, but in the time being, you, my children, get a start on it. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. The gospel narrative, you know, guys, it's really not that complicated, but it's extremely powerful. And I want you to get this. I want you to see it. Because when you actually look at the story, it answers the questions that you really need in your life. First of all, it explains where I came from, that God created me, right? That's creation. That's the creation step. It explains why I exist, that God actually made me for his enjoyment, just to enjoy as a relationship. The same reason why a family would have a child, why parents would have a child, is just for the love experience, and that's why God had us. This story explains why the world is messed up, the fact that mankind rebelled. It explained why I don't always do the good things that I want to do, because I'm broken too. I'm part of this fallen mess. It explains where I can find my true value, that Jesus loves me, that he died for me, and that I'm valuable to him. And it explains how I can overcome my brokenness. Again, Jesus is the solution for that. It explains where the future is headed, that Jesus is going to come back and make everything right, and explains what my purpose is now, which is to embrace Jesus and just to start living as his child. The gospel story answers every big question that you need answered in your life. And so, guys, grasp this. If you miss everything else, just don't miss this. When I feel exposed, I need to find myself in the gospel story. This is what you need to do. And so often we feel exposed. We feel like we're just hanging out there in the wind. Everyone's seeing all of our mistakes. They're seeing our shortcomings, how we don't measure up. You need to find yourself in the gospel story. You need to see how you fit into this narrative that God has created. You know, when I was 37, I lost sight of parts of this narrative. That's really what happened. I lost sight of my value to God. I lost sight of the fact that God is in control of the future, so I don't need to be stressed about it. I lost sight of the fact that my real purpose is just having that relationship with God, and that my contribution is just to be active doing the things that matter to God. It didn't matter if I was a pastor full-time or not. I just needed to be active doing the things that matter to God, getting a start on the things that Jesus is going to finish when he comes someday. Guys, I just want to wrap this up today by saying this. I want to come back to this term brokenness. And the fact is that this word, we've kind of looked at the negative side of it, but it's not all bad. There's actually a really good side to this term. It's terrible, of course, that the world is broken, but the Bible teaches that brokenness is actually a good trait for us, a trait that we're supposed to embrace. In Isaiah chapter 57, The prophet Isaiah says, "For this is what the high and exalted one says, he who lives forever, whose name is holy. I live in a high and holy place, but also with the one who is contrite and lowly in spirit, to revive the spirit of the lowly and to revive the heart of the contrite." That word contrite basically means brokenness. It's the same idea. You see, guys, brokenness can mean messed up, but it can also mean contrite, which means to be broken in your spirit, which Jesus said is actually a really good thing. When you read the Beatitudes, that's what he said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will find the kingdom of God." To be broken in spirit is to be at the place where you give up because you've tried everything, right? And you just say, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't fix myself. I can't make myself, worthy. I can't do it." You get to the end of yourself. And it's incredibly humbling to get to that place in your life, and maybe you've gotten there before. But you know what? It's the perfect place to get help. You see, you need to be broken before you will let go of your pride, and you'll actually let Jesus help you in the way that he wants to help you. Here's a fact, and you can take this one to the bank. Some people are a mess, but they still aren't broken. And I know people like this. Some people are a mess, and people may call them broken, but they're not broken in the real sense that Jesus is getting at here. You're still trying to cover up your messes. You're still trying to work things out on your own. Even though you're a total mess and everybody can see it, you're still hanging on to your pride. You're still trying to figure this out on your own, and you're just not letting go and admitting that you need to be part of Jesus' story. You need to act in faith. You need to put yourself into God's story. Guys, at the end of every message in this series, we want to give you a challenge, and it's kind of a three-pronged challenge: reflect, repent, and restart. And so I want to challenge you in three ways. First of all, this week, I want you to reflect. I want you to examine this week where you are failing to believe the gospel. And just examine your life, and from what you know of that gospel story, even as I outlaid it this morning, just kind of looking at your own life and saying, where am I failing to believe something? And how is that contributing to the stuff that I'm wrestling with right now? Get beyond those surface issues and say, what's really going on here? Where am I failing to believe the gospel? The second thing is repent. Just start to confess to God the parts of the story that you've been failing to believe. What parts of the gospel have you been failing to believe? And now just confess that to God. Repent. Say, God, that's wrong. I know that you're true. I know who you are. Maybe it's something about the character of God. You've started interpreting, you've been believing a lie that God is this when he's not. God is that. And you need to go back even and see the names for God in the Old Testament and the way that God reveals himself. See who he really is and how you've been painting him all wrong. But you need to repent of those things. And then the last thing is restart. We want you to start new actions as you go through this series. And this week what we're going to do this all through the series, but my invitation to you this week is just to join me for 5 quick devotionals that we'll be doing every morning this week, Monday through Friday. Just tune in for those and listen into those and listen to the things that we're saying. We're going to share scripture in every one of these devotionals, and that will just challenge you as you're contemplating these things through the week so that we can really make the most of this experience. The guys will explain in a little bit where to go to look for those and how to connect with those and make use of them. But I look forward to you participating with us in that this week.
Thank you, Pastor Bartley, for that message on brokenness, but even more than that, for your honesty and your vulnerability and sharing some of that stuff with us and kind of looking beneath the surface, leading the way and modeling that. I remember when we were thinking about this series, it was kind of in the midst of a season where I was having a conversation with a friend about some relational stuff, and some things that the friend said were they were kind of pointing out different people that I know pretty well, that they know peripherally through social media and stuff like that, and they're saying, well, look at their life and look at their family and look how everything is all together, and I was thinking, like, no, it's not true. It's way messier than that. It's way more complex than that. He was saying, like, your life on social media, it looks like this and it looks like this. And I was saying, look, that's not the reality. That's a part of the reality, but it's not fully true. There's a lot of brokenness. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of pain there. If you look beneath the surface, it doesn't look like what it seems to look like. And so talking about how things aren't always as they seem. I think this is just a healthy reminder for us. And then what we're supposed to do with that is not necessarily look at other people's lives and judge and critique them and say, you're not, that's not real. The whole point is to look at within and go, what am I portraying to the world? What am I sharing with the world? What am I showing? And then really what is going on? And where is there darkness inside of me? Where's there darkness inside my heart? Where does light need to be shone in my life? That's really what the goal of this series is to talk about the stuff, but then turn the light on ourselves and allow that to be an exposing light. But like Bartley taught, with exposure comes healing. And so we're going to talk about a little bit more of that during the initiatives. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to do some worship together. We're going to sing together. And something that I think is beautiful about worship is it's a chance for us to just stop what we're doing and sing truth to God, about God. And for me, I don't know about you, but for me, singing these truths is often a reminder of what is true that I've forgotten. Often singing as a community, as a faith community, is actually shining light in our lives that isn't always there. It's saying things that we know to be true or we have believed to be true at one time, but we're struggling with believing. And so let this be a moment for you to say, to sing, to communicate, to express truth about you, truth about God, and let that be healing for you. Let that be light in your life. Allow Andrew to kind of lead us in that together as a community, and then we'll come back.
Amen. What a beautiful message from Pastor Bartley. That message really hit me. I hope I have permission to be vulnerable here. But when you shared that, it really, really spoke to my heart. And, I woke up this morning, anxiety is something that I've been struggling with like my whole life. When you shared that, like, even before coming here today, I woke up having those feelings of anxiety, knowing that I was going to have to come here and lead worship, and just felt like a big responsibility. Sometimes I take that on my own, which I know I don't have to do. It's not me, but it's God. But those feelings of anxiety, they still just come up out of nowhere, And I came up here and I did the first song and I sang and I did what I got to do, and I went back and I sat down next to Mitch, and Mitch looked at me and he was like, "Tiandra, that was so good." And I was like, things don't always look as good as they seem. Because literally an hour before that, I was outside in the church offices outside there, sitting with my guitar with crippling anxiety about coming up here and having to do this. And, I opened up this daily devotional that I have, and it called me out. The first thing that I read, it was just fear and anxiety, it plagues you. Fear, anxiety plagues you, and the feelings per se are not sinful, but there can be a temptation to sin because of those feelings. And it's like that. You can go to that guilt and that shame, or you can go to the indifference, or you can settle in the middle with the faith. And God's word says, "Put on the shield of faith," and you'll be able to extinguish all of the flaming arrows from the evil one. And it's faith, man. It's faith that we have to really, really be strong, and we have to be strong in our faith. But it's a battle. It's not easy. But with the fortunate thing is that God made a way, and so that's what we're gonna sing. Through every battle, through every heartbreak, through every circumstance, I believe that you are my fortress, you are my portion, you are my hiding place. Let's sing that again. Through every battle, through every heartache, through every circumstance, I believe that you are my fortress, yeah. You are my portion. You are my hiding place. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. Through every blessing, through every promise, through every breath I take, I believe that you are provider, you are protector, you are the one I love. I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. And I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, oh, the way, the truth, the life. And I believe you are the way, the truth, oh, the truth, the life. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today, mercies that I knew. All my fears and doubts, they can all come to, because they can't stay long when I am here with you. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today, mercies that I knew. All my fears and doubts, they can all come to, because they can't stay long. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that I knew. All my fears and doubts, they can all come to, because they can't stay long when I believe you are the way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, hey, the truth, the life. I believe you are. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that I knew. All my fears and doubts, they can all come to, because they can't stay long. The way, the truth, the life. I believe you are the way, the truth. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that I knew. All my fears and doubts, hey, they can all come to, because they can't stay long when I am here with you. If you're not standing, I invite you to stand if you can, if you want to. We're going to sing some hallelujahs to our King right now. Your love is, hey, like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfire, singing your name. Come on, let's sing your love again. Hey, your love is like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfire, singing your name. Let's sing this loud. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied, multiplied, multiplied. These hallelujahs be multiplied. Hey, multiplied, oh, multiplied. These hallelujahs be multiplied. God of mercy, sweet of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. These hallelujahs multiplied. Your love is like radiant diamond bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us, blazing on fire, singing your name.
Well, thank you, Deandra, for leading us in that, and then also continuing kind of the theme of just being honest and being vulnerable and sharing with that. That, to me, that helps me trust you more to see, like, look, you wrestle with the stuff, and then you still get up there and practice faith, live out faith, embody faith by leading us in music like that. So we appreciate having Deandra in studio to do that, as well as Pastor Bartley's message was, I think, so honest and so true.
Yeah. Two statements that stood out for me are first, your value is shown by Jesus' death on the cross, right?
Yeah.
Like, my value is not attributed to anything I've done. My value is not attributed to any thing that I say or things that I connect to. It's simply defined by the fact that God of the universe, who's the most valuable thing ever, decided to die for me, right? So his value tells me my value, which is such a crazy and cool thing. And then the second thing is this idea that there are a lot of messed up people, but sometimes just because you're messed up doesn't mean you're broken yet. And then and to me, what that says is that when you're messed up, you can live in a mess and you're still focused on yourself so much, it's still a mess. But when you actually reach that point of brokenness, you realize that it's not about me.
Right.
You realize that it's not about how much I can do or don't do. It's about God. It's about how amazing He is. It's about how big He is. It's about God. And the fact that it's not about me takes the pressure off, and I can start to walk out of that state of brokenness. Right. That level of brokenness gets me to that point to where I can realize that.
Right. That's what the light is. Like the end of that light is that truth, that reality. The light, what it first does, if you're exposed, it shows the mess, right? And that's the reflect piece that Bartley talked about. Is initially light shows mess, and your options are to turn off the light, right? You shut off the light, block it out of your life because it's not fun to see that and know that, or you can walk into light and walk directly towards it, and the end point is real faith and true vulnerability and sincerity and just being totally and perfectly loved by God in the midst of your mess, right? Yeah. And those are kind of the two options, and you have kind of one, you can choose which way to go with it. You can choose which response you want to make to light shining in darkness, light exposing stuff within you. And I guess, your recommendation, Bartley's recommendation is it's going to be hard and it's painful, but walk towards it. Don't shut it off. Yeah. And if you walk towards it, you do find this beautiful peace and hope and truth that you can live in.
Yeah, and the guiding the North Star, so to speak, is Him.
Exactly.
So when I'm when I'm a mess, I'm still focused on myself. When I'm broken, I realize, I can't. I'm like Bartley said, I can't do. I've had enough. I can't do this on my own. Right, I can't try to pull it right. So now I realize I'm broken, and so that pendulum, right, that pendulum swinging from shame to indifference, because when I'm in a mess, right, it's like the stormy waters. But when I'm actually grounded in faith, I'm broken, I'm going to be honest about who I am and where I'm at.
Right.
But the way I walk towards this is faith, is Him, is His word, is His truth. Right.
So what can people do? We're here to tell people about initiatives at Renewed Church, connected to the message. What can people do from this point? If this is a reset for them, it should be a reset for all of us. Yeah. I need a daily and weekly reset, so it's a reset. But for people who are really feeling compelled to really just press the reset button, or to take away some of those blockers or things that are holding light out and just really walk towards the light, which is Jesus, what can people do right now?
Yeah. Well, practically, you heard Pastor Bartley said, talking about these devotionals that we're going to start, and they're going to be quick 3-minute things, and they're going to be released in the morning. So for those of you who are morning people, but they'll be online for the whole day, so there'll be a way for you to engage them at any point in the day. But I would encourage you guys to set a practice, right? Because when we reach a point of brokenness, we realize we need Him in my life. There is such a thing. There's truth about spiritual disciplines, and so this can give you an option that if you don't have that spiritual discipline of connecting with God regularly, daily, this gives you an opportunity to build that practice into your life. Right? Yeah. And so these 5 devotionals that Pastor Bartley is going to release, I would encourage you to use that to kind of develop that daily practice.
Yeah, we actually just sang about new mercies, right? We just sang, Dandra just sang and led us in worship, and we sang about basically every morning there's new mercies, and this is kind of part of it, is there's a mercy for you tomorrow morning when you wake up. If you take that time and you allocate it towards God and looking towards the light and just being exposed, there's a new mercy for you there tomorrow that you didn't have this morning, that you didn't have yesterday. Yeah. So like you're saying, it's come back to that on a daily basis, on a regular basis, and we're going to try to do that together as a church. And we invite everybody to get on board with it. Do it with us together. Yeah. Experience that together through the form of to morning devotional.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
And then God works through multiple ways. He works through his word. He works through worship. He works through prayer. He works through community. That's why he gives us the church. So he gives us the gift of the family of God. And we do that through Renew groups. And Renew groups are kind of all over the place right now because we're stepping into the summer seasons and because of COVID, meeting on Zoom and all this other stuff. But this still doesn't mean that there isn't community there for you to plug into.
Right.
And if you don't have deep relationships within the church where you can be exposed, where you can be broken, you need them.
Right.
You're not fully using all the tools that God's given you if you're not. And so I would encourage you to take a step into connecting with those.
Yeah. Well, the live stream is, you can be honest on the live stream, but it's not the best space for it, right? Like to throw some stuff up on the feeds or whatever is, if you feel led to say something, say it. No one's going to stop you from saying it. But the best place for that is really in the context of real community, in real relationship. Yeah. And there's stuff that I'm not going to share with you on Sunday that I share with my Renew group, and that's where real healing happens, because that's where the community of God is knows one another. And then cares for one another and carries one another's burdens together. It's really in the context of real community that happens in our Renew groups. So
and our Renew groups are kind of all over the place again with what's happening, the rhythm right now. But even with the things that happen in them, right? Like sometimes our groups are in a deep Bible study. Sometimes they're doing a right now media study. Sometimes it's, and sometimes it's just community. Sometimes it's just prayer. Sometimes we just need to pray for each other. We got a lot of stuff going on. We just got to pray.
But the truth is, those Renew group leaders at least are not just trained and equipped, but they have a heart. They're chosen as leaders because they have a heart to walk through stuff with you no matter what it is. And so you can trust and rely in your Renew group leaders at any point to reach out to them, to call on them, to share some stuff with them, to work through some stuff with them, regardless of how regular or consistent your meetings are happening. It's community is not just a meeting time and a space. So
and the point is that the key concept with Renew groups is that it's that constant missional community that you're forming, right? Because you can get all kinds of different stuff from our church. You can listen to sermons, you can watch Bible studies, you can and you can do things in your group. But when you show up to, say, this is a normal church service, when you show up to a building that has 150 people in it, you're going to have a level of community. You're going to have a much different, intimate level of community with the people that you're actually walking with on a daily basis, weekly basis, like your Renew group. And that's really where you can be broken, right?
So if you want to get connected to a Renew group, if you're not already, you want to get reconnected or connected to another one, just go to renewchurch.ca. We have a connect card there. Basically, if you want information about the devotionals that are coming up, if you want to make sure you're getting the emails about them, if you want to know how to kind of step a little bit deeper into community, if you want to know how to step deeper into your faith, if you need some sort of realignment or restart and you want to talk to a pastor, connect with us, do it all through the website, renewchurch.ca/connect. There's a little form there, and you can use that, as you would like to use it, and be totally honest and free and share whatever you'd like in the comment section on that. We'd love to hear from you, be able to connect with you and serve you in some kind of way.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. What are we going to do in a moment? We're going to sing?
We're going to sing with Deandra again. Pretty cool song, I think. Great Are You, Lord?
Yeah, we invite you to sing along with Deandra. Again, let this be a chance for your heart to express what you know to be true that you have a hard time believing sometimes.
Yeah.
Take it away, Deandra.
You give life. You give life. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord. You give light, you are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. Sing great. And great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you. Great are you. No, the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Oh, no, the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. We worship you. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to
thank you, Deandra, for leading us in that. I was thinking while she's singing, I was thinking it's awesome and such a blessing and such a gift to have leaders like Deandra and leaders like Bartley who are honest and really are concerned with modeling Jesus and submitting to Jesus and having faith in Jesus and being honest and vulnerable and stuff like that, and have ability to teach well and sing well, right? Sometimes, you know what I mean? The heart is right, and that's important, but it's so nice to also have people who can sing really well alongside of having that honest and true pastoral heart. So thank you for doing that with us, Deandra, and for us. It's cool.
It lets people like me make a joyful noise.
Yes, me as well. Thank you guys for tuning in for the Renewed Church live stream. This is the post-service. This is where we just kind of reference some of the stuff that happened today and then tell you about things that are coming up in the life of our church. I just want to say right away that I saw a lot of response today, a lot of conversation about the topic today on the stream. I saw a lot of engagement. I thought that's great. We encourage that. We think that's a positive thing. We want to encourage you to continue to engage on the stream, letting us know some of your processing from the messages and from the worship. It actually helps us. I think everybody learns something from the things you say as well as the stuff that we're doing here. And so keep doing that. I think that's really, really great, and I'm encouraged to see that.
Yeah, that's another way of us learning in our community, right? We get a chance to be broken with people because of relationships, but also the Spirit of God helps us learn from each other. The gift of the family of God. So we all have our different places. Pastor Bartley might be the lead pastor, but we all have the Spirit of God if we're a Jesus follower. So
that's right.
We all want to connect and learn from each other.
Yeah, we learned some fashion advice from Mitch on today's stream, right? We learned from
wear your price tags on your polo shirts.
Yeah.
So you can flex.
So just everybody learn from everybody.
Everybody learn from everybody. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Hey, we're so thankful you tuned in. There's a couple things that we want to tell you about that are coming up that you need to know about. One of those things isn't pies because we're done our Pies for Pastors segment. We announced the winners last week.
Yeah.
And that was super fun. Actually, who won? It was Vicky McCollum who won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations.
The key lime.
Key lime was fantastic.
I'm a Florida boy, so...
You impressed the Florida boy, Key lime. That's impressive. So we don't have that right now, but we do have some things that are coming up that we want you to know about. The first thing is happening tomorrow. It's going to be released tomorrow, and it'll be up for a few weeks.
Yeah.
What is that?
The survey.
2020 Vision Survey.
Yeah, 2020 Vision Survey. Create a survey to kind of get a response from learning from each other. We're in this together as a community, so we want to kind of know some different things that's been some feedback over the last few months in this COVID season, having to do live stream, and some questions about that, and also maybe some questions about just ideas of where we may want to go in the future, and as we kind of walk through these different phases as the province releases them, right? Because right now we're walking into phase 3. Most of Ontario is in phase 3. The GTA is probably coming a few weeks later.
Stumbling behind a little
bit, but and that'll change things for like being able to do backyard barbecues because there'll be a larger amount of people that can gather in a safe way. But it doesn't really change anything for our church officially as far as services, church services, those kind of things, just because of where we're at. So we kind of have to wait for the next phase to be released. But we're planning, we're preparing, we're praying, we're working hard as a staff. Our elder board's praying through it. We invite you guys to pray with us as a church as our church moves through this season.
And help us by doing the survey. That's why we're doing the survey. We really are looking for insight, and we're looking for data from our church. And so this is for anybody who has been a regular part of Renewed Church for any amount of time, as well as for those who have just been tuning in with us. If you've just been tuning in with us on the live stream, but you're doing that on a regular basis, we would love to hear your feedback. We would love to get it from you. We'd love to know. And so we'll be emailing that out. We'll be sending that out other ways just so that you can have access to it. If like Monday afternoon rolls around, you can't find it anywhere, just ask somebody. And we'll make sure it gets into your hands.
You can email us at mail@renewchurch.ca. So like you can do that right now. If you know that you're not on our email chain and you haven't given us permission to send you emails, then I would do it. We don't spam you with a bunch of stuff. We send out weekly. We don't. I promise. We send out a weekly email that has to do with what's going on in the church on Thursdays. that's it, and then maybe some updates here and there.
Yeah.
But we want to mail out the survey to everyone that we know is connected to us, that's going to benefit from filling it out. And so if you want to help us out and you want to get that survey and you want to stay connected with us, send us an email at mail@renewchurch.ca. Say, hey, I'm cool with you sending me an email, and we'll send it to you.
And we'll have a couple weeks to fill this out, but we're asking you to fill it out tomorrow or Tuesday when you get it.
Yeah.
And we'll remind you guys on the next couple live streams that we do, but really, please make this a priority in just your schedule. It might take you 20 minutes, but please make it a priority. We're asking that of you, the people who are viewing today, and the rest of our church. And then we'll, even people who aren't tuned in right now, we're going to make sure they get this. So it's going to be for everybody. So that's coming up on Monday. What else is coming up on Monday morning?
Monday morning, devotional with Pastor Bartley.
Devotional with Pastor Bartley. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, releasing them each day.
It's going to be a video devotional connected to a scripture verse that's connected to the theme from this week. And Pastor Bartley's going to lead us in the first 5, so it'll be Monday through Friday. In the mornings, we're going to release them at, I think, 6 a.m.?
Yep.
So
6 a.m.
If you're getting up earlier than 6 a.m. and doing devotionals, then you are more holy than Bartley anyway. So, okay. Amen. Do your own devotional. No, please, tune in. You can use it just to kickstart devotional time for you. You don't have to get up at 6 a.m. and do it. Just whenever you get up, it'll be available on social media and stuff like that. And then we also encourage you, if you think it's insightful, if you think it's helpful, if you think there's other people who could benefit from it, let them know. So share it around, tell them about it, and we're going to do that over the whole series. So whoever teaches on the Sunday, the following week will be devotionals from that pastor, which I think is going to be cool. So we're going to do this together as a church for 5 weeks. So commit to it for 5 weeks. Put in your calendars and say, this is what we're doing on a weekly basis, on a daily basis for the next 5 weeks. It's going to be really cool. Good. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Excited.
And then what's going on
exposed.
Thursday?
Thursday, live stream, like always. Continuing in the book of Jude.
Hey, Jude.
Dun, dun,
verse by verse through the book of Jude. We only covered 2 verses last week. Well, 3, 5 through 7. So, I know.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really slowed it down for us.
Slowed it down.
Yeah, so we're going into verse 8. It's going to be great.
Yeah?
Pastor Bartley, I believe, is teaching, right, on Thursday?
Yeah, he is.
Look at this guy, just teaching all the time.
8.
Look at him go.
Book of Jude.
It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be great.
We do some worship and prayer and stuff like that as well on the Thursday night streams. So that'll continue.
So I think, I could be wrong. I'm just going to throw this out there. If I'm throwing you out there, Elizabeth, I'm sorry. I think Elizabeth's going to be here leading worship on Thursday.
Well, we always love when Elizabeth is here doing worship. So
on the little spreadsheet that we got going on.
If she doesn't know that,
now she does. And you have to.
we like committing the Cambridge campus people to things.
They're just so flexible.
They are
so
so
just
flexible.
Exude godly flexibility, so we take advantage of it.
Yeah, we do. So that's going to happen Thursday. It's going to be great. And then Sunday's coming up again next week, week 2. The series you're teaching, aren't you?
That's what they say. That's what they tell me. Yeah. Intimacy. Fun times.
Yeah.
What would people think if they knew the real me?
Does anybody actually know the real Wade?
Glenn
Reininger's here, and he always exposes us on here.
Now you know that
he knows I
see ink blots and I see scary clowns. So
scary clowns and dead rams.
Dead rams.
Yeah, I'm going to tune in this Sunday to watch this guy burn. It's going to be great. Burn with passion and honesty. I feel like everyone here is going to know 3 times more about the mystery of Wade after Sunday than anybody's known. It's going to be so good.
Don't set me up for failure, man.
I'm just saying.
You're setting this up for...
Well, step up to the plate, my bro.
Step up to the plate.
Step up to the plate and
if I missed,
hit a home
because
run.
I was worshiping like angels.
I'm thinking hitting home runs like ink blot baseball
hitting
players.
Home runs.
Yeah. And then somebody in here said, hey, you're all wearing blue button-ups this morning. #exposed.
#exposed. Mine's I have my little palm trees on mine, though.
You're exposed. Now they know we have a text thread where we coordinate what we wear. I feel like day 1 we all wore denim, and then we were like, shh, they all know that we have this text thread now. We gotta hide that. So we got exposed then, and then all of a sudden we just got lazy with it. We showed up all wearing the same theme thing and just got exposed again. So yeah, I paid a lot less than $300 for my shirt.
I take the price tags off my shirts though.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just checking.
Don't expose some of my bald spots.
Feel free to use the #exposed all series long if you see some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Just #it exposed or send it to media@renewchurch.ca for our Renew at-home segments that happen in our pre-services.
Yeah.
We'd love to do some more exposing, some fun exposing.
This has the ability to be really good if people actually get into it. Has the ability, like, there are probably some secret things out there that are pretty funny if people are willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
but it
sift
also
through
has the
everything
ability
we
to
get.
maybe
We'll
a bit
sift through it.
messy. So we're
Yeah.
hopefully
And loving and gracious.
Yeah, loving and gracious.
In your exposure.
So we look to expose yourself and some of your funny quirks more than others, right?
Yes. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Anything else going on that we need to tell people about?
No.
No, it's good.
I can't think of anything.
Good. Oh, well, We Are One live stream's coming up next Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Did we? I thought we
Sunday
already
night.
said that.
We did. We didn't say it here in the
We didn't
post.
say it here.
Some people tune in during the service. They skip all the pre-stuff because they're like, these guys are goofs, right?
Yeah.
And then they show up and then they watch the message in the worship and then they accidentally leave it on.
Yeah.
Right? And we're like, hey, here's a chance to
Here's
plug
a chance.
again. We Are One live stream.
Still watching.
Next Sunday, 5:30, tune in for the We Are One live stream, which is a live stream that is a conference for our whole fellowship of churches, right?
Yeah. I'm excited about this. I love our fellowship. And you get to be a part of our national conference in a way that you may not have been before because it's a trip during the summer. It's 3 days usually during the summer. It's usually you have to go to the States. You have to pay money to go, right? All this other stuff. And so usually what ends up happening is leaders, pastors end up going a lot.
Right.
But you have a chance to get connected to different people in our fellowship, kind of get exposed.
Ooh.
See what I did there? Get exposed to our fellowship a little bit more than maybe you have been in the past. So we're a part of a larger fellowship in the States called the Charis Fellowship. And you're going to get to see our executive director, who's Phil Sparling. You're going to get to see our friend, we've said this before, Dane Caraway. He's a church planner outside of Baltimore. He has like a 3 to 5 minute little thing going on in there.
Nice.
You get to see a bunch of different stuff. Yeah. I'm sorry.
The blessing song. Some of our worship leaders participated in actually Deandra was participating.
Deandra.
So we had like a fellowship-wide, there's going to be a fellowship-wide performance blessing song with those things where you see 100 different people singing at the same time thing. It's going to be one of those.
Yeah. So cool. Who's in that from? Chad, Deandra,
Chad and
Elizabeth,
Deandra, Matt and Miriam, I think.
Matt and Miriam.
And Eric, Drinka. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got a lot of people.
Packed. Full of Renewed Church. We get to host it. It's going to be fun. We're going to do live pre-service and post. It's going to be amazing like it always is.
Yeah, it is.
So tune in next Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Put in your calendar. We Are One live stream. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
All right.
Is that all we got?
I think that's all we got. Thank you for tuning in to Renewed Church's live stream, Sunday morning service. If you like what you saw, don't forget to share it. Tell people about it. Go over to YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube. Tell people about the YouTube stuff. Tell people about things that they should look at. Send the message around when it's cut out as a single message. Send it around to people. It's worthwhile doing. So do all that stuff. Keep doing that stuff. Don't stop doing that stuff. Good.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Peace.